Women in Afghanistan are suffering a backlash after the Taliban overpowered the Afghan army and took control. Strict Sharia laws have been imposed, and working women have been asked to stay home despite initial assurances. The hard-fought progress that women in Afghanistan achieved in the last 2 decades is being erased. Young female students are burying and burning their educational degrees because it imperils their existence. There are further disturbing reports of sexual assaults from different parts of Afghanistan. However, the brave women in Kabul have not given up, even as global superpowers beat a quick retreat. Women took to the streets of the capital and staged protests on Friday, the 3rd of September, demanding equal rights and inclusion in work and education. Holding up placards and raising slogans, the brave Afghan women demanded that they be allowed to pursue their education, hold jobs, and their dreams. The Taliban has been discussing the formation of a new inclusive government, but many are skeptical, and with good reason, that women will be pushed back into the medieval ages under Talibani diktats and their version of Islamic rule. Join us today for Prabha Khetan Foundation's Tete, brought to you by Kahalli, as we speak to our special guest, the brave women's rights activist, Ms. Mehbooba Shiraz from Kabul.
Good evening and welcome to Prabha Khetan Foundation's Tete, a new program that we're going to be hosting twice a month to bring you pressing issues. And I thought there was no better place to start, but to start with a remarkably brave woman who I have recently come to know, Ms. Siraz, let me repronounce that, Ms. Mehbooba Shiraz. Thank you so much for joining me, ma'am, all the way from Kabul. Hope you're keeping well.
Thank you so much. I'm doing all right. Thank you for having me. I'm really honored.
Not at all, and I really appreciate you sparing the time. Like I was mentioning to you before we went live, the Prabha Khetan Foundation is primarily made up of women who are extremely socially engaged and very concerned about what happens within the female experience, and not only in our own country where we have our own issues, but really across the world and in countries like Afghanistan, which are the center of global focus at the present time, but unfortunately not much of global help.
Yes, I know. Thank you. Thank you very much.
What are the circumstances like at present, right now in Kabul and in Afghanistan?
At present, well, I mean, everything seems to be all right. Last night we had this huge Shadiana type of firing in the air with the everywhere that the Taliban were doing that, and it was extremely scary the way it started, because you can again see those red bullets. They did it. This is the second time they did this. The first time was right after the U.S. troops left Afghanistan on the 31st of the night of the 31st of August. This is the second time, and I still don't know what was the reason why it was done. Although today there were some very stern, how shall I say, words were said by the higher echelon of the Taliban to everybody who did that, not to do this thing again, because of course, apart from the fact that it's a waste of bullets, and bullets are extremely expensive, and all of the ammunition that they are, firing in the air, and that belongs to the public, that belongs to Afghanistan government actually, and is not to be played with and just fired in the air. It was also extremely scary for everybody that was here in Afghanistan. The kids were absolutely petrified. I mean, there are some pictures of some of these children that I saw in our group that was shared. It was like, just broke my heart how scared they really were, these poor things. And people who are sick, the noise really upset them very much. And at the end of the day, there was about 17 deaths and 44 or 46 injuries that took place. So, again, lives that were just, wasted and gone. and that makes me so upset to no end. Like how, what is the value of life in the, in this country of mine, and what is happening in the world today? Why is it so? But it was, and that's how it happened. Today on the streets of Kabul, a group of young women that they were demonstrating, and the demonstration was also because of something that Mr. Stanagzai said, and he was talking about the women not having a part in the government of Afghanistan, in the higher echelon, like they will not have women as the ministers in the ministries. So that for a lot of the women in Afghanistan is not something that we really like to hear after all of these years that we have gone through educations and everything. And why should the woman should not be included in it? And then that's the one thing. This is their right to ask. I mean, where else are they supposed to be included in this? And then also there were some actually their demonstration. It was a peaceful demonstrations on the street, and there were just a few women that they were walking and just asking for their rights. And I think they were hit, some of them, and one of them actually got a bloody head, and they were using tear gas. So these are and my position right now as as one of the women in the forefront, or whatever you want to call it, or being a voice here, is that I really, really would like to have a talk with the head of the Taliban, with the decision makers of the Taliban, and really talk to them. They have to clarify to us, where they are and what is happening actually in Afghanistan. Today, for example, the head of ISI is in Kabul, and I don't know why the head of ISI is in Kabul, but he is, and the Taliban apparently asked him to be here. And then the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Pakistan is like talking like they're talking about Afghanistan being another country of theirs, or he's the Minister of Foreign Affairs for Afghanistan also, or whatever. I don't know. I really don't know what is really going on, but these are the things that are going on. And still in the country, we don't have a government. We still are that pot without a cover. We still don't have our banks being, open. So there is no money. There is no work. Women still are not sent to go to the, to work. Actually, they say they don't stop them, but they haven't gone to work. Universities are not open. Schools are not open completely. I don't understand. And as this thing is going on, the way it's going on right now, it's kind of is making the whole thing ready for anarchy. And that is really, really very bad for Afghanistan. And I don't know whether they understand the sense of urgency that is going on here. And right now with Panjshir being at the place where Panjshir is, and they are fighting, and I am begging my brothers to be, I'm begging my brothers to. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, my charge is going. And in Panjshir, I want my brothers to actually stop, what is going on in Panjshir right now. We don't really need to go on with that. With the situation there, and I just hope that they understand that this is not the way to go about, solving this problem. There's going to be more of the Afghan sons and brothers of ours that are going to be dead again. And honestly, this is not the answer. We have to come up with some kind of a, understanding each other. We have to sit down and talk. For God's sakes, for months and months, in Doha, these people sat down and talked, and nobody came up with any kind of an agreement. And on top of all of this, the what really kind of makes me, sad in a way also, is, for example, the countries, like India, for example, as a neighbor of ours, with so much closeness, with being the country that helped Afghanistan so much. I wish they would have taken a stance a little bit, stronger than what they did. They were kind of and this whole thing, they kind of stayed back. They didn't get involved as much as they should have, and they didn't do that. And I knew they did this thing once before in Afghanistan, and when Afghanistan had the communist government, that took over. India, they didn't wanted to have it to take a side, or they took the side of the communist government of Afghanistan or whatever. So that kind of brought about some kind of a, how shall I say, this kind of a sadness between the two countries, because there is a lot of trust and there is a lot of work that has been done. India spent so much money in building out the roads and infrastructure in Afghanistan, and the students that they are going to India every year, 5,000 students are studying in India. So this is something that has been going on for years, and our relationship is not a relationship that is just something that started recently. We have a very old relationship going on with India. And it's been always extremely amicable and extremely so yeah. So I was and I was like wondering, as far as how come they never got involved more than they have, because of Pakistan and because of the India's interest in all of that. I was really very surprised that I was hoping that they would have gotten more involved, but that didn't happen. So this is where our situation is really at this point. And the rest is like, we are just waiting to really see what is going to be happening. We are still having people that they really need to leave this country, and their lives is really in danger. And so far, they have been saved by the grace of God, and I don't know how they have been saved, but they have been. But how long this thing is going to go on, we still don't know. And in other words, what I really, if we could get to the people, the people that I really want to have a discussion with and have a talk with, is not only the Taliban here, or the people that they are having this war in Panjshir. I want to go and beg them also, please don't do this. This is not the answer for the problems of Afghanistan. More killing cannot be the answer. There is no way. And then the Taliban have promised, an inclusive government. So I don't know when that inclusive government is going to be taking place. Because if that doesn't happen, if there is not an inclusive government, if the people of Afghanistan don't see themselves in this government, is going to be extremely dangerous, because then what happens? They cannot govern Afghanistan. That's the whole, the how shall I say? The losing area is not something little. The losing area is the whole of Afghanistan. So if this doesn't happen, and if the people of Afghanistan can't find themselves in the government, if the government is not inclusive, if none of these things happens, then there is no way for anybody to be ruling this country or to be governing this country. Who are they going to be governing? So, and all of these wars that will start everywhere.
I wanted to ask you, what do you think is the definition that the Taliban has of inclusivity? Does it include women? Would they engage in a dialogue with someone like you, who is at the forefront of the women's rights movement in Afghanistan and is a stakeholder? Do you think, I know you just said that you want to engage with them and talk to them and get a better understanding, but what are the odds that they will engage with you?
I to tell you the honest truth, I really don't know. I have no idea whether they will or they won't, but I'm just hoping that they would. So that's my prayer, that they would. I know from some of them that they do know me, they do know of me. So that might be one way of doing it. I don't know, because at the same time they think. I mean, I have approached them. I have approached Mr. Mujahid, and I've talked to his office, and I said I really would like to talk to him. But and they said, he's very busy, which I understand. They really are very busy. They are making a government, but there are a few things that I really would like to tell them ahead of them going, to make the government or form it or whatever, that they should have it in the back of their heads. They should have it as something that they have heard and something that they might be able to take action on it right now that later on might be too late. So that's my whole point, because at this point, what is important is not only the women of Afghanistan, is everybody in Afghanistan, is the men, women, children, everyone in this country. So we have to do that. Otherwise, we are going to go into this cycle of violence, the cycle of killing, the cycle of a civil war in the country. That is not going to end, and another 50 years of fighting is just, we can't take it. We can't take another year of it, for God's sakes. We can't take another month of it. I'm wondering, I am so amazed at these men, how they could go on wanting to fight. Why, for God's sakes? Is life really that cheap and that worthless? Is this why we were created on this earth? To lose our lives like that? I don't get it. I'm like desperate. I'm desperate right now. I don't know how to, where to, whom to. I have no idea.
In your lifetime, Ms. Siraj, I know that you're in your 70s now. How many decades have you seen this kind of fighting and killing in Afghanistan?
Since 1978, this has been going on. Since 1978. I mean, that's a too long. And one name or another name or another name or another name has been going on. And it's been going on, and it's been going on. It's like so many amazing lives were all destroyed. So many talents were gone. So many in the social media. There's a picture of this young boy from Panjshir, a boy of age of 14, for God's sakes. I mean, his cheeks were all pink. And the boy died in Panjshir, and everybody was so proud that he's a shaheed. For God's sakes, he didn't even see anything about life. What is shaheed at this age? Why was he a shaheed at this age? And I'm like wondering, I want to tell the mother, why didn't you look after him? Why didn't you stop him? What is the beauty of this dying? Why did he have to die? Because somebody told them that it's a wonderful thing to die for Panjshir or to die for Afghanistan. Why not live for Afghanistan? Why not work for Afghanistan? Why did you have to die? He was so beautiful. And I never saw him in my life, but I saw something written about him before all of this started, that they were so proud that he's going to, go to war. And at that time, my heart just kind of went like, oh my gosh, they're going to kill this guy. And they killed him, and he died. I said, why? The sweetest young man on the face of the earth. Why do you have to let them die? And then be very proud of it? What is the pride in here? I want to know. What is the pride? Where is the pride? That he died and wasted? God only knows the things that he could have done with that kind of a determination that he had in him. For the wrong reason, for the wrong things, not the right things. So, it's like millions of things like this happening. I just happened to, to see this one today and broke my heart.
I completely understand where you're coming from. It's absolutely heartbreaking, because this is the age, at least in my country, when kids are trying to figure out what subjects to choose for school, or they're getting knocked on the head because they spend too much time on their mobile phones.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
it seems like a luxury, because children at that age are giving up their lives for whose war, for whose happiness?
Yes.
Whose greatness?
His greatness.
That's what breaks one's heart is I mean that they are being raised and they're being led to believe when
Yeah,
they're not
yeah,
capable of that consent and making those choices in any country, in any civilized place. We
I know.
don't even let them vote or drink or any of those things at that age. They're
Yeah.
going out there and giving up their
How can
lives.
how can how can you be allowed even to do that? If I was the mother of that boy, if I was the mother of that boy, I would do anything in my power to stop him. I would kill myself in front of him to stop him to go and take a gun and do what he did. I would literally kill myself. I will not let him do that. Because how did they allow him? That's what is killing me. Why? You are the mother. How could you allow him to do that? But they did, and very proudly too. So you see, this is where we are. The sadness of the saga of Afghanistan. It's like no ends to it. How long? How much more? And to what extent we are going to see it? To what extent we are going to live it? To what extent this is going to continue? I have no idea, honestly. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. Really, I'm like completely,
I know.
completely lost.
I mean, it's hard to even ask you, because there is at this point in time when so much of the world has turned away, and I understand what you're saying about India as well. I lived in Burma for a few months back when they were having their first election, and a lot of my Burmese friends said the same thing. They said, "Why
Yeah,
didn't India do more when the junta was here and in charge?" And
yeah, yeah.
I think that is a policy that the country has in terms of their foreign affairs, which I don't know what to say about it really, but certainly my effort, this platform and through others, is to amplify these voices like yours, which speak of sanity and which speak of finding a path. Because really, Mr. Raj, the option that's left for you right now is to navigate a path through this particular situation that you find
Exactly.
yourself in.
Exactly. And me saying what I said about why India didn't do this or why India did, and this, believe me, that comes out of a lot of love and respect. It's not something that I don't. If I didn't care, most probably I wouldn't say these things, honestly. But I care for Indians, and Indian people do care for us. I know that. So it's like it's a friendly country talking to another friendly country. It's like, couldn't you do something about this? Couldn't you get involved? Couldn't you do a little bit more? Get a little bit more involved in the whole situation? We thought you would, but it didn't happen. So that's the
No, I,
that's the very human side of it to look
I
at it,
really
really.
do. I really do urge, the government and certainly my leaders and the prime minister. I mean, who is extremely compassionate and is very engaged with people from around the world to do something. And I do believe, Mr. Raj, that India will probably, or not probably, will most likely step in some way. May not. I think a lot of us, the world is just looking at what's happening because you have this alliance, like you said, of Pakistan, where the ISI chief, it seems, has arrived, according to some reports, with a list of
Yeah,
ministers, you know, that should be sworn in. So they're almost
yeah,
treating Afghanistan like another province of Pakistan. And this and
yes,
China has completely backed all of this. So I think what's happening is that the world is also kind of taking measure of the new alliances that are coming up, and I think Afghanistan is going to be at the linchpin of the way world powers are going to be aligned again. And I think it's a matter of time before our countries really
yes.
start speaking up.
I know, I know. This is what makes me very scared. Can you imagine if this whole thing, starts happening completely, going out of hand and going out of control, and everybody allowing Pakistan to do what Pakistan is doing, and then as the people are sitting right here, and what? Now, and even for me to ask Panjshir, please, Panjshir, don't do this. But then if Pakistan is coming, how can I even ask Panjshir not to do that? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like there is a lot at stake. If it's the people of Afghanistan inside Afghanistan doing what we are doing, that's one thing. But then if there are people coming from Pakistan inside Afghanistan deciding for all of us, that's an entirely different ballgame. Entirely different. So that puts us in places that I don't know what to do about it, honestly. It's like, what are we going to do about this? This is not right. This is really not right. Why is the ISI general is here in Kabul? Why? What does he want with the people of Afghanistan? This is not where he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be in Pakistan. Let us decide what we want to do. But then there were a lot of Afghans that they went to Pakistan and they sat there and they talked to them until now. There were these head of the different political parties. They were in Pakistan. They were there, all of them. Just I don't know whether they came back or they came back with this guy, but they were there. So what were you doing right now, going in Pakistan and talking to them? What is it that you want from Pakistan?
Yes, and if you didn't want the Americans there, then how are you so easily accepting Pakistan to come in and
why are you accepting another country? Yeah, I thought you wanted this country for Afghanistan. I mean, are you going to give it now to Pakistan? Is that what it is now? I'm very disappointed.
I know. The last time we met, if you remember, that young student also was with us, and a lot of students who are in India have had this issue with visas. I want to tell you that the government is looking after them and looking at e-visas and things like that to give them some sort of moratorium on it. And I'm ICCR as well, and ICCR is also stepping in because some of them are their scholarship students. So there are things happening, at this level. Maybe they're not as little as it needs to be, but I think a lot of the world, the Americans are of course defending themselves because it's making them look really bad in front of the global community. I believe Britain has said they will not recognize the Taliban. Is that correct, Mrs. Raj?
Who's going to recognize the Taliban?
They're not going to
get the question.
They're not going to. The United Kingdom, Britain. Is that true, or is that rumor?
I don't know. The one country that I know that for sure decided that is not going to recognize the Taliban is Denmark. The Danes. The Danish, the government said from the beginning, they said no ifs and buts about it, we are not going to recognize. Now, the rest of the world, to tell you the honest truth, UK, I don't know whether they're going to or not. I don't see how they're not going to, because if America does, then the UK will. Because they kind of follow each other. So they will. That's my thought, but then it might be wrong. So I don't know. Some countries of the world have, and some countries of the world haven't. But the thing is that, at the end of the day, whatever happens, the ones that is going to get hurt and they have to take the consequences of any action are the people of Afghanistan, or all of the men and women of this 35 million people. It's them. There's a famine coming. Because it was a very dry year last year, and praying to Allah that this year it will be snowing and there will be a better year. So economically, we are really in a very bad place. We don't have enough food for everybody. There is no work for everybody. The banks are not working. The government is not formed. God Almighty, just look at it, where we are. None of the banks are open in any one of the provinces. Nothing. So our agony, our fear, our problems are huge. And we really have to give hand in hand. The government should be formed, and each one of these steps should be looked after. One by one, one by one. And otherwise, it's not going to happen. We are going to lose Afghanistan. I don't want to lose Afghanistan. Where am I supposed to go again? I don't want to go someplace and be another again for one more time. Not only me, but all of us. Running. Where are we going to run if the ones wants to run? Otherwise, what are we supposed to do? Just sit here and be victims and not be able to open our mouth and say anything or fix our country, do something for it? It's just.
Ma'am, the last time round when the Afghanistan came to power, what was it like, and what was it like for women? I mean, you're somebody who's seen that very closely, and like in Afghanistan, there is a whole generation of Indians who have not, seen that regime of theirs. Could you share a few things about that?
Yeah, the Taliban actually, the thing was that when the Taliban came to Afghanistan last time, I was not in Afghanistan, so I have not seen what they have done. But I was following it in those days also as much as I could, not as much as right now, because right now we are a different era of the world. But in those days also, through the news and telephone calls and whatever I could, and the friends that I had in Kabul, I was following it and getting the news for whatever was happening. But in the it was very bad what happened. But what is really happening right now is the young people, the young generation, who have absolutely no idea what that was. You see, that's in a way is the sadness and the beauty of it, because of the fact that these young people, which is the biggest part of our population, have not seen the Taliban. They were born after. So they're in their 20s now. So they were born, they were 2-3 years old. So they really did not know, what the Taliban did. So that's why they're in their early 20s and their 20s. This generation I'm talking about. These are the young people that they are going to be stuck in the middle. And these people are actually the ones that they don't know why they cannot do something. It's like because they were raised and they lived a life that they were allowed to do everything. They were allowed to go to school. They were allowed to go to the cafes. They were allowed to sit in the circles and groups that they had for poetry, for writings, for discussions. Their groups used to get together. They had art. They had music. All of that. And they had sports and they had competitions and things like this. So they are a different generation. They have lived and they want to live. How are we going to tell these people that die right now? Cannot. So that's where another thing that it's absolutely so very sad is because of that generation that is around us. They don't know anything, but they don't know the Taliban.
Ma'am, there were some reports that said that the Taliban has yet again announced some of the punishments for things like stealing, which would be, chopping off hands and things of that nature, which are very strict laws and Sharia and part of Sharia. What do you have to say about these kind of introductions that are coming in already?
To tell you the very honest truth, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say, because because we messed it up, as in the period before that messed it up. The government that we had messed all of this up, because in those days, if we had proper courts, if people were getting the proper punishment for their crimes, and if that was happening, maybe this would not be the result. We would not be where we are today. If there was not all of that corruption in there was not all of that, maybe we would be in an entirely different place today. But unfortunately, that's not what it was. We had some of the most corrupt systems in the courts, in our judges, in our system of government. I cannot tell you how horribly corrupt we really were, and what that corruption did to this country. That corruption destroyed us. Really destroyed us and brought us here to where we are today. And the amount of pain that the people of Afghanistan feel from the corruption of the previous government, honestly, I can tell you, that's why when they compare it, they say Taliban. Well, Taliban, then they haven't done those things yet. You see, that's where the whole thing was. I did talk to a U.S. general once, and I told them, sir, if you allow this corruption to go on and take roots in Afghanistan, I can tell you that Taliban are not going to destroy this country at all, or nothing's going to happen with the Taliban, but corruption will. So please do something to control it. And he got very upset with me. What do you mean by that? I said, well, I don't know what to say. What do I mean by that? I still don't. So I don't remember his name, but he was a general. And that's exactly what he told me. What do you mean by that, ma'am? I said, exactly what I'm saying. I'm telling you what I mean by that. So, yeah.
I mean, it's been heartening to see, ma'am, that, there have been ex-servicemen, American ex-servicemen, who have come out and absolutely condemned their government for what they've done.
Especially that one of them that was talking, I was like, oh my God, he was just like, he was so upset about the whole thing, and I don't blame them. There are thousands of them right now that they're all maimed and they have lost their body parts, because of being injured and all of that. A whole lot of them lost their lives and all of that. And then at the end of the day, so why did you bring all of these people to do that to them? And then of course the Afghans that they have all, how many cripples we have in this country? How many? It's like beyond imagination. And how many of us, they have gone absolutely crazy. We are losing our minds. We are all becoming psychotic people. It's like we are so upset and we have gone through so much. The women, the men, the drugs problems. Where to start? Really. So this is all the things the way it is in Afghanistan. Yeah. This is one country, but God only knows how many more there are in the world, that they have the same problems that piled up like this. I'm sure there is a lot more countries of the world.
I don't think all at the same time. These problems have not visited any country all at once in a while. I think Afghanistan, unfortunately, is in a very unique position in that sense. And and the sad thing is that there is actual active support for this regime on one hand from countries, and then on the other hand there is silence. Yeah. So it's sort of and I think a part of it also has to do with the whole terror network and the apprehension that many countries have that Afghanistan will become yet again like a playground for this sort of terror network, which seems increasingly likely. And as long as that continues, I think peace for the people of Afghanistan is going to be very difficult to come by. Unfortunately, they've already been talking about Kashmir, so that will get India's ears up. And, and one by one, different other countries, democracies in particular, are going to be looking at this very seriously. And I think that doesn't augur well, really, even going forward for the people. Ma'am, the young girls that you've been talking to in the recent past, in the last 2 weeks, what have they been saying? How are they feeling, especially those in their 20s, their teens, who've not seen the Afghanistan but only heard the stories?
Well, talking to all of those young people, especially the young girls, is a bit hard also for me and for them, because at the same time, don't forget, I'm taking the side of caution, for them, trying to tell them that, your life is important and you have to keep it safe and you have to look after it. And for them, being the young people that they are, and the fact that, they really have not seen the atrocities of what a human being can do to another human being, and all of that. So they don't most of the times they don't believe it, and they get, they say, why are you stopping us? We shouldn't be stopped. We should be able to do that. That's where they are. They really are saying that this is our rights. This is where we are. This is, nobody, we just want to have our place in the society. We don't want war in Afghanistan anymore. We want peace here, and we want to take our part, and we want to live. All they want to do is really live. They don't want anything else. They really don't. I mean, as beautiful and young and hot-headed that they are at times, but all they really want is to live and to be allowed to live and let live and go on with their lives and go on with their education and make something out of them. Most of them are so worried about the fact that, if the universities don't open, what am I supposed to do? If I'm not allowed to go and do my job, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to stay home the whole time? So these are all of the things that they are, that they really are worried about, and they would like to have a control over and be able to change it or do something about it. So that's where
For me, it was remarkable to see these women out on the streets of Kabul, protesting. And then on the other hand, there were these images of a big cricket match that the Taliban had organized, and there were only men sitting in the seating or whatever in the stadium. There were only men, and you had the women out on the streets protesting. I thought that was such a dichotomy and so representative of how this takeover of the Taliban has impacted men and women differently. Men can still make peace with it because they will enjoy certain freedoms even under the Taliban. But for women, it's a complete shutdown, isn't it?
Complete shutdown. So that's why it's so, that they have all the right to do that and stand for it. And absolutely, all of them. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's like really. Yeah.
I mean, I wish them bravery, but I also wish them healthy, long lives. And,
absolutely.
They find the balance between the two. I think at the present time, what I understand is that there will have to be a path that is forged through this present circumstance. And ma'am, in particular, if there is anything that women who are outside of Afghanistan, like me, like others who are watching, the men, allies, what is it we can do?
Thank you. If once in a while, like we can talk like this, that would be great. Which you arranged it this time, and maybe you will do it again.
Of course.
And also listening to us and allowing us to tell you what we really need and get the word out, and also make sure that you watch us. This is something I've been asking everybody. Watch the whole movement, the whole changes, all of these little things that in the eyes of a journalist, in the eyes of a person that writes, or in the eyes of people like you don't miss it. You see it. When you see it, please make sure that it's reported, it's looked into, because those little things are, as they say, the devil is in the details. So those details, really look into them and see what they are, because those are going to be the ones that will talk about the changes, the whatever is going to be coming on the way of the Afghan women. We really don't know where we are. We still don't know where we are going, and what is happening. So that's one thing that I really want. Just to be aware of it, and maybe at some point these things happen, and if one catches it on time and knows, maybe a whole lot of miseries can be stopped and might not happen. I don't know. This is the way.
I mean, I would definitely love to have you back on now, and whenever you feel the need to come on and have a platform to say what you need to say, and of course try and get it out to as many people as possible. If you'd like other voices, young women, older women, mothers, to come on board and tell their story, speak their voice, their version of the truth, which we need to hear, then please, I mean, there's always a platform for you here to do that.
Thank you. And one lady said that the lives of the women changed overnight, and it's so true. The lives of the Afghan women changed overnight. That's so
Were
true.
you all expecting this arrival of the Taliban when it happened on the 15th of August, or do you
This
think you?
fast, this fast? No, no,
No,
nobody
right?
thinks no, 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 not like this. No, no, really. This was like what? Like
Hmm.
this, and it just happened. Although a lot was happening from the way different parts of Afghanistan were falling in the hands of the Taliban, and the army was pulling back, and the orders that were received from the government and from the center were all going everywhere and not to the right place. Those were kind of things that were happening. But for the Taliban to be in Kabul just overnight, no. No, I don't think they even expected it. The Taliban either. They didn't.
And
They
it was
really.
really poignant for me over here because that was this our 75th day of year of independence.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That
So true.
that
Yeah.
happened, and then on the other hand, because I'm old enough to remember reading about the Taliban, of course,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what they did. So
Yeah.
it was just crushing to feel that this is happening simultaneously, so close by.
Yeah.
Not even that far away that you can kind of
Yes.
think
Yeah.
of it happening in another part of the world and not care.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't see how you can look away from what's happening in Afghanistan because part of that sentiment, that ideology, is something that impacts all our countries,
That's
and that
right.
we have to be careful of. We cannot ignore it.
Yeah.
We ignore it at our own peril because it could very soon be knocking on our doors.
I am
And
I am telling that to the world. Honestly, you never
yes,
know. You never know what can happen. So that's why the solidarity amongst the women of the world is extremely important. Very important.
now
Very.
so many of our viewers are just commenting on your bravery, really, and that it is truly incredible that you are able to have your voice, and despite I know the tightrope you're we are walking right now. I know exactly the tightrope you're walking, and to be able to
Yes.
make your point and yet have doors that through which you can walk in and make a difference is very tough. And I
You are
really my prayers
you,
for you.
you ladies of the world are giving. Oh, you have become my strength. I swear, you really have. My sisters here, and you ladies, mainly the ones outside of Afghanistan, and the ones not the Afghans that they were involved with us, but the ones that were not. You are the ones that are making it very possible for me, and I believe me, not only for me, but for everybody else, all of the other Afghan women that are here. You guys are making it possible, truly. So
I
thank you.
really, I want to thank you, Ms. Raj, and really ask you if there's anything else that you want to say before we close this out. And there's so many good wishes coming for you
Thank you. I
on
know. I know.
our chat. We're
I
going to highlight as many as we can, and through you, we will communicate those good wishes to the women of Afghanistan, to the daughters, the
thank you.
mothers, the sisters, the wives who have
Thank
suffered
you.
immense, and our prayers are with you.
I really appreciate it so much. All of my heartfelt thank yous and gratitude goes all to all of you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so
And we will
much.